Welcome to the DL Gaming Podcast. This episode, we're going to be trying to add, 9 Kings, BLACKSHARD, FlyNight, and Terraformers to your backlog. But first, my name is Christian.
I'm Bobby.
I'm Taylor.
And I'm Amanda, not Emilio. Psych.
Got him.
Got him.
Now you have to say a funny anecdote about your life that you thought of as we were doing the intros.
Okay. I said I wasn't going to talk about it. I lied. So I, in a groggy state, apparently booked a pre-release event for Magic the Gathering on a Friday instead of a Saturday and thought I was going to it yesterday, but it was the day before. So don't be like me and miss a release from misscheduling. But I feel like that's an Emilio thing that would happen as well.
That is an Emilio. Did Emilio crawl inside your body? No, sure. Okay.
Sometimes we share a brain cell. It's usually when I have to pee a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we ping things on the show, which is just noting something interesting. And Bobby is going to start us off with a little tech. You are the tech guy. Everything you bring up in this section is tech.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of tech. I am going to talk about Half-Life 2 RTX, which is a game, or more specifically, a mod for Half-Life 2, but a mod that lets you run RTX on Half-Life 2. So it's supposed to look all amazing and beautiful and give you better performance. That's not quite the case. If you look at the Steam page for this mod, it's actually rated pretty low, almost like it's being review bombed. There's a little bit of controversy over the poor performance, especially on the AMD cards. And there's also a lot of strange comments about, I don't know, NVIDIA exploiting the devs. I didn't read too deep into it, so I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah, so RTX, if you, I don't know, let's not get too deep into it, but it's supposed to make everything look a lot better, specifically like the lighting is much better. I tested this out on my computer. It did look really good. It ran really smooth. So not exactly sure what all the negative reviews are about. Maybe there's just a lot of AMD users out there.
So when you say RTX, you mean like adding ray tracing and DLSS and like those features to Half-Life 2?
Yeah. In
Okay.
DLSS, I wasn't really sure what that is. You know, there's so many acronyms with all these, and I just like turn them all the way up and see if like my computer can handle it, basically. You know, that's pretty much my strategy when it comes to configuring graphics. Although now I use the NVIDIA app to just automatically configure it for me. But DLSS is, from what I read, like one sentence summary, it's a way to run higher resolution graphics without taking as much of a performance hit. Now, whether or not it does that successfully, I don't know if it uses like AI to kind of like fill in the gaps or create the frames or something. I think that's kind of what
basically
happens.
like runs the game at a lower resolution. Like it renders the game at a lower resolution and uses AI to upscale it to whatever your display resolution is.
Okay.
And for someone like me, a layman, technical nowhere in this mind, I had to ask Taylor to help me build a computer. That's a real story, and he did a great job. I think it could be a fun little bit. Guess the acronym. You know, RTX. I don't know. Is AMD an acronym? If so, I don't know what that stands for. DLSS.
Deep Learning Super Sampling.
Really?
Ooh,
wow.
I like that.
We need a big noise.
AMD, I believe, is Advanced Micro Devices. Not positive on that.
Okay.
I'm going to say it's
RTX,
amazing.
though, I don't think is anything.
RTX is nothing?
I think
Really?
RTX is just NVIDIA.
Well, they call their graphics cards like
letters.
the GTX. So I think when they put ray tracing on it, they just called it like RTX. So maybe the RT is ray tracing, but the X, who knows?
It's that
extra.
X is
It's
that
because
factor.
it's
that extra.
It's the X factor,
It's
exactly.
the
Yeah.
X factor.
Ooh.
It's that mysterious ingredients the Powerpuff
Yeah.
Girls are made out of.
RTX real-time extreme graphics.
God,
That's what it
it's
is, coming
fucking
at you.
gamer coded for
Yeah.
sure. Okay, Taylor, what do you
It's
got?
so elite.
Well, interestingly enough, my ping is also about an older game getting updated. Pillars of Eternity 1, which you may have heard me gushing about Avowed last time I was on. This is the first game set in that world, is getting a turn-based mode patch, like official patch, later this year. So that's pretty interesting that a game that old is getting official patch this, long after release.
Yeah. When was it first released, and why are they doing this?
I believe it was released. I'd have to look it up, but as for why, maybe because it's gotten a lot more popularity since Avowed came out. Like, a lot more people are getting into it. And it seems like turn-based mode is what most gamers prefer these days over real time with pause.
Okay.
So
interesting. Cool. 2015. The
originally
first
came out in 2015. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. All right, Amanda. Oh, what?
Yeah.
Oh, I wish Nick was here. He'd give us our best auction voice. Sorry.
Yeah. So I was going to say, speaking of, Bobby's not the only one talking about a bit of some hardware today. I just want to give a ping and a shout out and think that everybody should check out their nearest thrift store to see if they do silent auctions, because I discovered a silent auction this past weekend when I wasn't on the last podcast, and my partner and I, we saw a Cytec X55 HOTAS, which is like a flight simulator actual controller system that makes you feel like the real deal, like you're an actual pilot. And they had apparently gotten it for free at the thrift store, and they cleaned it up because it was a little on the gunky side from the rubber melting. And so it was $70, and this shit usually retails for $200, although Logitech took it over, so now it's a whole different thing, and it's more than $150. But the old school one, plugged it in. My partner's been working on actually manually mapping everything for Flight Simulator and Squadron, and he was able to basically plug it in and it works, and it was awesome. So we're gonna be playing and checking that out. But I just think it's so cool. You can go to these silent auctions and just kind of be like, I got this Art of Coloring Star Wars book that normally retails for $16, and I was like, I'll put $5 on it, and I did. I put $5 on it, and I won it.
Wait, you won the HOTAS for $5?
No, the HOTAS we got for $70, but the coloring book was $5. But still,
Nice.
the
Those things
HOTAS
are
for $70
cool. I used
was so
to
great.
use them when I played MechWarrior back when I was a kid.
It's
because
awesome.
it has the throttle and the joystick, right?
Yes, it's the whole system. It's cool. We're really stoked to start playing and learning how to do it. That's one of the things I'll be working on this week is, becoming a real pilot from my computer.
Nice. And I love flight sticks too. I think 3 out of 4 people on this podcast really like flight sticks. And then one has just hateful, I think is the right word, maybe even bigoted opinion on not flight sticks, but the people who have. Bobby, why don't you share your opinion with this?
That's because he's never been to a silent auction and got one 70% off.
That's a good deal. Maybe I just haven't found the right game. I don't even like controllers, so a flight stick is out of the question.
Oh, that's true. You don't like to role play. That makes a lot of sense then. You probably don't like the driving handles for driving games either, right?
Bobby's just sitting in his room. He's like, I'm not a pilot. He's grudgingly.
No, I use a mouse and keyboard to drive my car.
All right, cool. Okay, I'll cap us off with the pings. So in the vein of always tracking all the time, it's 2025. People want you to track all sorts of things. The movie you've watched, your caloric intakes, your weekly workouts, and now, or not now, but this has been a thing for a long time, you can track your game progress on something called GG app, which is Letterboxd for video games. So I threw my profile in the Discord. I made this a long time ago, and then of course promptly never updated it, but it's coming back for me. And if you're out there and you use this and you kind of share your thoughts on video games, I think it works a little bit better than Steam reviews for you often don't see your friends' Steam reviews unless you have the same game as them, so you can't really see what they're playing. You can only really get what you two share in the Venn diagram, what their opinions are, which is cool, but I want to know what everyone is playing. So yeah, I left a little review for Terraformers there, which is a game I'm going to talk about a bit later. And then I would love to see your profile and what you're playing on there. So hit me up.
Cool.
Well,
Yeah.
I made a profile for it after your post in the Discord, but I haven't had the time to go in and actually look at it yet.
Nice. Cool. Okay. Highlights, games that we have actually been playing, things that we want to add to your backlog. And Bobby starting us off. Sorry, I'm going to totally fucking bury your lead here, but I took a look at the Steam page and they have a thing with the number in this game that's like persistent through all the mechanics, right? Like,
How so?
like there's 9 kings, which is the name of the game, and then there's 99 cards. There's 9 squares that you build on, and it's just a bunch of 9s. I don't know if I like the number 9.
I noticed that, but I don't quite understand it because you start out with 9 tiles, but you can expand to more. So I didn't, and you don't really have 9 cards. So, well, I mean, I guess there's 9 cards per set.
99 cards, sir. 99.
That's why you're going to
99.
be saying 9 to all the other 8 kings, right? You'll be telling them no in German. That's what it is. That's
Is
what
9
yes.
important in numerology or something?
I don't know. We really went down a road here.
9 of them, yeah.
9 opinions. Yeah.
So the game that I am talking about is called Nine Kings, and it is a roguelike city builder / auto battler, and of course it has cards. This is developed by a small indie game studio in Brazil, and I think some of them are in New York City. They're called Sad Socket, and it's very confusing because the game is 9 Kings, but they do have different versions of the games called 2 Kings and 3 Kings, which seem to be what they call their demos. And then 9 Kings is the actual game that is coming out in April. So this game
clever.
isn't out yet. This is kind of a leftover from Steam Next Fest for me. This was one that was highly recommended to me. It looked really good. I wanted to play it. Didn't get around to it. So this week I did, and it is very good. Definitely recommend this. So basically, I mentioned a lot of genres. What you do in this game is you build and upgrade structures in this grid. They spawn units, which, march out to fight the enemy or fire ranged attacks, or they give buffs to adjacent tiles. It's like an auto battler, but not like some of the ones you're thinking of, like Mechabellum. You know how in Mechabellum where you have to place them in a specific area, and then that determines when they intersect with the enemies, and there's that whole strategy of doing that? That doesn't exist in this game. You place them on your grid, and then they just like run out to the front and take their formation, the same one every single time, and then they just smash into each other.
So archers are always at the back and leaders are behind. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and your turrets are always at the base. And then you can get special units that like jump to the back line. So really what Nine Kings is a much more simplified version of an auto battler, which is honestly what I needed, because every auto battler I play, I'm just like, man, this is really good, but I don't have the time to hardcore mode this, to learn all the rock, paper, scissors of the units, to like learn the strategies of placement.
Well, especially
because
most auto battlers are PvP, and that is, of course, the whole other dimension. Now you're competing with other people who are sweaty. And
so it gets,
you got to keep up
real
with the
sweaty
meta
real
and all
quick.
of that. And
And this is just single player. But I did really enjoy it for those reasons. So you've got 9 different factions. They all have different play styles, and you can mix and match these the cards you get from these factions as well. So I'll give you an example of one that I really liked, the Blood King. So this has a lot of units that just go in like really hard and burn themselves up. So like if they die, they can respawn as like less powerful units. So this combo that I was working on, this synergy, is I had these things called fire bombers, which run in and basically just kamikaze. They explode themselves and do a ton of damage. Then I had these demon altars, and the demons that get summoned from the altars, they permanently increase their stats every time one of their allies dies. So it's a really good pairing with a unit that's just going to go in and immediately get destroyed. Didn't quite work out as well as I wanted, but I do like the idea of like mixing and matching these synergies. And you can do it across all the different factions as well. Now, because this is a demo, it's missing a couple things, like permanent upgrades. The systemic upgrades you usually get in these types of roguelike games. I'm not exactly sure if I can like stop mid-game and save my playthrough yet. But I don't know. Overall, I really liked it. And I think I might have mentioned this on the podcast before, but did I tell you guys how I basically invented the auto battler back in the 90s?
No.
What?
Oh man. Okay. I've definitely talked about this, but I don't think I phrased it this way. So when I was a kid, this must have been like early 90s or something. There was this game that I used to play with my friends. I think we called it like Crash or Smash or something like that. So we would get all my cars, all my little Hot Wheels cars, and we would draft them. Like we'd go back and forth. Okay, you pick that one, you pick that one. And then we'd have like, okay, everyone has their set of cars. And then we'd go into the kitchen where the floor was like, it had tile. And we would basically just push all our cars at the same time at each other. And they just smash into each other, and the ones that flipped over were dead, and you had to take them out. And we basically did that over and over again until nobody had any cars left.
That is the genre distilled.
And that was the invention of the auto battler. So
And then you never got credit for it.
Well, I'm working with an attorney right now. We're going to make sure that things get figured out.
Now that's a DLG bump, dude.
That's great.
We used to make tracks and after-school programs and race our Hot Wheels for pink slips.
Interesting.
Oh, wow.
I think the closest thing is like we used to get two of the big guard ants that always hang out around the entryway of the holes from different anthills and put them on a piece of stone and watch them fight to the death. Did I invent maybe we all had contributions to maybe I need to get on this lawsuit, dude. Tell your lawyer to talk to you.
All right, it's a class action lawsuit now. Let's go.
DLG versus gaming industry.
At large, yeah. Just a cannon
Just
aimed at everyone.
the man.
yeah. The fucking man. Yeah. This game
That's
sounds
going to be
awesome.
a landmark case, folks.
All
right. Well, yeah, that's it for me. Definitely recommend Nine Kings. Check it out. The full game is going to be released in April. No price point yet, but it can't be much. But it's a solid game, especially if you like auto battlers but don't have the time to get hardcore with it.
Yeah. And this one was top ranked in Steam Next Fest too. Hey, like I saw quite a few people playing this. Oh, added to wishlist, Bobby. You did
and
it.
The demo is still available, right?
Yeah, you can play the demo. They even have mobile versions, so you can play on Android, iPhone, whatever.
Nice.
Sweet. Amanda,
Cool.
you pronounce this game because I don't know. It could go a couple ways here.
I don't know how else to pronounce it other than calling it BLACKSHARD. What did you think it was pronounced?
I don't know. Anyways, we could keep going.
Well,
I'm picking up what you're putting down, Christian.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
It's called BLACKSHARD, I'm sure, because this so much of the theme of this game, well, for starters, what is it, right? It's a first-person exploration, narrative kind of experience. Like when I played this game, it kind of reminded me a little bit of The Witness, or When the Darkness Comes was a game that I know that I've covered in the past before, because that game just always sits rent-free in the back of my mind as games that just kind of, on a foundational level, I guess, have changed me. I don't know. This sounds very deep and very big, but that is how I would approach this game, BLACKSHARD, because this whole game is that you're in this labyrinth of what feels like the in-between of worlds. And it's a very heavy game, while the music, I swear to God, is like binaural beats or some shit that you would play to like meditate or fall asleep. So playing the game actually feels very soothing and calming. And like I found myself going into this like tranquil state playing this game because of the music and because of how absolutely beautiful the visuals are. Everything feels like you're kind of in space, or you're in this like otherworldly world. They've done such a great job with the immersion of this, and you're finding these different shards of wisdom, and you're trying to find these different pieces of what's called like the yellow sign, which I think is this, from what I'm kind of gathering playing, I've only freed 2 shards. You like find these prisms that are like floating in space, like how very much like an electron field floats around a nucleus, or like the protons and neurons. And like this shard is like sitting inside of it and you need to release it. When you do, you get to talk to it. And what I appreciate about this game, because I know I've talked about it in the past about how much I hate when there's text and then you hear like and like it's like it doesn't make any sense, but like this game I think does it in such a great way where it's like there'll be like for example, I walked in right when you walk in, you can kind of get this sense of this authoritative being that's like guarding the labyrinth right when you start, and it's like this pillar with like 4 heads on it that are only the nose down to the chin. There's no eyes or anything and it's just 4 of those around a pillar. And when it's talking, it's like not making sense. It's like almost like a gibberish, but in a way that is like a different language. But as far as I know, it's not actually language. It is gibberish. But like the way that they've done the voice acting is very like authoritative and kind of echoey and booming. And then there was like one shard of the yellow sign that I freed that was feminine sounding and also almost sounded like a totally different language and consistent with patterns, but was very soothing and soft. And so like their voice acting is very different while also still somewhat doing the like while the subtitles. But I think they've done it in like a cool way where I'm like, okay, I'm actually okay with this. And this game
sounds
is just
like it kind of suits the surrealness of the game. Like, because looking at the Steam page for it, it definitely looks like a surreal type experience.
It is so surreal. It's like if you took almost like minimalism with tons of like hexagon, rectangular, geometric shapes and put them in this like otherworldly existence with these glimpses of like entropy and life. Because when you go through the shards of memory, they're like these little moments of looking into a life that has also gone into the labyrinth, because apparently you're in this labyrinth trying to go through all these different tests and challenges. And I mean, I think it's actually a side quest. Well, it might be one of those like it's the main quest but technically hidden quest. This game is, I don't want to say confusing, but there's not really anything to show you. You're walking around, you're exploring, you're trying to figure out, like that is the part of the game, is kind of figuring out what the hell is going on. I just know that I'm in a labyrinth and I'm supposed to get out, but then I have found the yellow sign who keeps calling to me different parts and opening it up. Like I just released a shard at a time and it changed the whole cosmos of this world in this game, and it just like blew. I've played this game for like a few hours and I feel like my jaw has just dropped the whole time playing it because of the mix of music, the story that I'm finding in it, and the visuals itself are just like absolutely insane. It's awesome. Amanda,
did you hear me talk about Manifold Garden or try to talk about Manifold
actually
Garden?
That's a great comparison too.
Well,
yeah,
I feel like this is how I felt when I was trying to explain this game. I was like, it's weird, but it's this art style that I see on the Steam page feels like it is one word, like some hoity-toity, or I don't know, I said hoity-toity, some person who knows about the world of art and all the descriptive words to use. Like there is a word for this. It's like the style of Chronicles of Riddick, like whatever that is, like what the Necrons and Chronicles of Riddick. I feel like that has a name. I just don't know it, and that is what I'm getting from the environments you're moving through in this game.
Yeah, or I feel like the House Harkonnen in Arrakis and the Doom universe. Yeah. It's very that as well. Like it's, I don't know, I guess if I were to try my best hoity-toityness of art, I would call it like noir surrealism, I suppose. Or noir surrealism. It's weird. It's like, it's dark, it's heavy. I just found this one world, because this labyrinth is huge, and then on top of it there's actually a portal to get to the labyrinth, and if you take that portal out of the labyrinth, you get to what straight up looks like space and nothing. And then there's this dude that looks like he's out of Destiny 2, sitting on a fucking like massive turret that just has this huge harpoon that looks like an entire diamond of a galaxy inside of it pointed at this like weird tower that goes up in all this smoke and space.
It's an acid trip.
This game is actually I would recommend to not be high on anything when playing this game because you don't need it. And if you ever want to know what it's like to be tripping balls on something hallucinogenic, play this game. Play this game in the dark with the headphones on. You'll get into this tranquil space and just be transported into this black shard of nothingness that has an endless amount of opportunities inside of it for weird shit. It's
It
awesome,
looks so
though.
cool. What drew you to
I
this?
highly
Like, why
recommend.
did you play this game? Like, what drew you to this weird experience? Like, how'd you find it?
Well, you guys know that I absolutely pride myself on like the weird ass shit I find in my discovery queue. So this came up on my discovery queue and it took like 2 seconds for me to be like sold because this artwork is just crazy. I was like, I love this artwork because in a way, everything that is drawn or like the dialogue reminded me of Disco Elysium, which to me was my game of the year for 2019. And I felt like with the way that they were writing, I was like, okay, this feels like it's actually a really good story or good narrative or like a really good kind of puzzle that maybe you piece together the story. It's not hand feeding you a story. You're figuring that out, which I've always liked that, but it does take investigation on its head as a like surreal kind of way because once again it's not like you're finding clues and figuring out, you're reading in between the lines and deciphering signs to figure things out that way, which is to me a little bit more like The Witness or like any of these kind of puzzle based games, while being something so different because I feel like this whole game really explores the whole cycle of life, and that just feels very heavy and interesting and meta, which is my shit. So I'm like, okay, I'm sold. I'm gonna get it. The game right now, it came out on April 2nd, so it's very new. It's got an introductory offer on Steam right now until April 9th. It's $9. I wholeheartedly think it's worth it. I've been reading that like there are some people that are 50 hours in, which is crazy to me because I have no idea how long this game's gonna go, and it feels like it could be endless because of the labyrinth concept. And the world honestly feels huge, but I don't know. It's weird. It's huge, but there's nothing in it, and I feel like that's actually part of the point and part of the fucking story that they're making as a reflection of life, which is wild. And maybe I'm piecing too much shit together. If anybody plays Black Shard, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
It looks like there's a demo available for it as well on Steam. So if you know,
please check out the demo if you guys want a free acid trip,
Amanda,
like, or you know what, a free DMT trip. There you go. Play this.
Whoa. You're gonna meet
awesome.
God. You played Just Driving, which kind of blew up. I think it's fair to it really did blow up, and it got really well critically reviewed. You played it before it was critically reviewed and before it blew up. This has 66 reviews on Steam right now. It released like 4 days ago. I don't know. Maybe you're like a little blow up minesweeper.
I don't know, man. You know what? Hey, listen, that DLG bump, everybody get into this, but I just think that at the bare minimum, everybody should download this demo because this is just the kind of game that I think is rare. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see too many games that are like this. Like, the last game that really sticks in my mind like this was When the Darkness Comes, which was so long ago, and also a very weird kind of crazy game, but nowhere near I think as good and as beautiful and as stunning as it and as like impactful as this game has already been for me. But I would
you say
love
it's like a choices matter type game?
a bit. I think where they're making, because they do make quite a bit of like references to you making choices and taking paths. I think where you're making the choices is what you're choosing, what path in the labyrinth, that you're choosing to take. Because this is a genuine like labyrinth and maze. Because the first hour I played, I was so fucking confused as to where I was and where I was supposed to be going and just trying to figure it out. And I think that's genuinely part of the game and what their point is trying to make, though. Because also then you find yourself taking paths and finding and discovering different things. So I think that's part of what path and choose you're making. Also, too, you have a choice to release parts of the yellow sign or not. And you're apparently going up against this, like I said, this labyrinth, but it's kind of, they keep calling it the tyranny of fate. So I feel like they're kind of doing this thing where the yellow sign might be a symbol of like fragments of a freedom and willpower, and like the sun and shining and like power of yourself. And once again, I might be looking way too fucking into it, and it just might be the yellow sign because it's fucking yellow. It's always a possibility.
No way, dude. No, this is a game for art students. This is a game that's meant to be kind of dissected on a deeper level, like from the reviews at least, and from what they put on the Steam page. It does seem that way. So yeah.
It does, but I feel like it's kind of the kind of game too where like you could take it as face value as like a really pretty, calming sounding, like I said, because the music that they're using is like straight up putting me into a tranquil state when I play it. So like you could just play it and be like, I don't give a fuck what anybody's saying, and I'm still just enjoying the pretty views and it's interesting in some of the puzzles, you know? But I do feel like if you really want to dive in and go into that deeper level, it's all right there, because they allow you to zoom in so well in the game to such a detail that it is crazy. You're normally quite far back and just first person, but then you can zoom in 3 times and it does feel like a 5x, a 15x, and then a 50x. Like I can zoom in so far in the game that I can't even run to, but then I can see these intricate details on architecture, and I've already caught them using that because I'm in some level right now where there's almost like you're in an art gallery and there's these big like granite things on the wall, but if you zoom into that 50x, you actually start picking up patterns and little pictures inside of it that are painting a picture of birth, life, and death is what I found. And I was like, that's fucking crazy.
That's cool. That's cool.
It's really
like
cool.
Their sense of scale is purposeful. Like it sounds, yeah.
And I feel like this game is really using scale as a mechanic, which to me is very fascinating. I probably could go on for so long, but like I couldn't recommend people just checking out the demo enough, and then you make a decision whether this game is too artsy-fartsy for you or whether you actually enjoy it. But either way, it's a
totally
visual acid trip.
Yeah,
but I'm also like a super big hype man, especially with shit that I get excited about. So people need to make their own decisions, I think. So if you are like listening to this and you're like, yeah, I could do with a legal, work-approved acid trip, play BLACKSHARD, and then like ping me at, Amanda at DLGgaming.net, or go to our like Instagram and make a comment or something about, hey, yeah, I like this game, or I don't know, the wall's actually fucking blue. It doesn't mean that it's sad. Like, let me know. I'm curious, because this game's cool, and I think it's going to be, I think a lot of people are going to take it in a lot of different ways, which I always think is super fascinating, but I'd love to listen to what the listeners think about this game, or you guys as well. Play the demo. That's all I'm going to say. And then make the decision on whether you spend $9.
And then you have this question at the end. Anyone ever play a game that gave them a borderline existential crisis or made them think about the deep parts of life? I feel like that's such a good question that I wish I would have read before we started the show, because it sounds sad, but I don't know if I have. I don't know if like that has given me an existential crisis and really made me think of the meaning of life. No, I don't. Like in Spore, when you nuke all the other nations and and like that's what the game makes you do, that kind of gave me like, oh, I guess part of what we're supposed, maybe this is inevitable. That's the only feeling maybe that I got around that. But yeah, how about you guys?
Have you heard of the game called To the Moon? That game was like super affected me on an emotional level. I wouldn't say existential crisis level, but like really hit me in the emotions. Like I was thinking about it for days afterwards. I cried while I was playing it. So,
oh wow,
is that kind of what you mean?
Yeah, I guess I should have asked truly if anybody has played a game that has given them such an emotional response, because like some of the other games I think of that I think more people can resonate with is a game like Spiritfarer, and I think even a lot of people would argue The Last of Us is super gripping in a way, and emotionally gripping. Or like Life is Strange is another really good one that I think deeply impacts people.
I played South of the Circle. I talked about it on the podcast. I don't know if you guys remember that. It was a walking simulator, and you entered these dialogue options that were just shapes, and the shapes represented the specific emotions. And it did that thing that Mass Effect does, but I don't know if Mass Effect is doing it on purpose, where you select a dialogue option and then what you actually say is sometimes so different than what you mean to say. But in this game, it was purposeful. Like, you would reply to a situation where, like, okay, it makes sense that my character is sad, and then what the character said was completely fucking unhinged and like no one would ever say in a million years, and you'd be like, oh shit, like that was probably the wrong option in that discussion. And that one hit me deep because it's about a love story, it's about certain people being shut out of science, and it's about nuclear war, again, nukes. maybe that's a soft point for me personally. And it's about being betrayed by your government. It was about so many things. It's such a beautiful game. Yeah, that one really affected me. I like that one. Bobby, did you have a game?
No.
Yeah,
no,
this guy.
Yeah.
He's not into this kind of
He's
shit.
all about tech. This guy, he likes tech.
Well, I don't even go much for story in games, although I think they've come a long way. And I think I had forgotten about To the Moon. I've never played it, but I do remember Emilio talking about that game when it came out, and he had a similar reaction as Taylor. So maybe I do need to play that one. And also The Last of Us, the sequel or the second part just came out on Steam recently, and I know a lot of people are playing that. But yeah, that one is really known for, kind of a dark storyline, if I'm not mistaken, right? Like, I'm not very familiar with it. I have not seen the show. I haven't played the game, but I did go on the Haunted Trail tour at Universal Studios. So I feel like I know what's going on. I feel like I understand the emotional underpinnings based on that experience. But I think, I don't know. I think, like, there was a time where I was just like, storytelling's useless in games, but I think there's a lot more recent examples that would prove that wrong.
I wish we were in like a studio together. I would love to have like a Bobby Reacts series to The Last of Us or something, where like we just film him on the couch playing the game, and just like every time I see the hint of a tear or a smile or something in the story that is emitting an emotional reaction in Bobby, we just blare this loud like klaxon horn, and we all hold up signs that say "Told you so," and then we put them down for the next moment.
Maybe we should make that happen at DLG Con.
Yeah. Well, how long is the game? Bobby's just in the Last of Us dungeon. He's playing like a 36-hour game.
Oh my God.
Taylor, what are you talking about this week?
So I was gone and didn't get the chance to play mini games the last couple of weeks. I went to Mexico, and then when I got back home, I ended up being super sick for like 10 days. So I haven't had the chance to play much, but this week I am talking about a game called FlyNight, all one word, FlyNight. And it is pretty interesting looking game. It's like a dungeon crawler, and I've seen people describe it as like a Souls-like meets RuneScape. So
It looks like it, yeah.
The graphical style of it is definitely like low, like RuneScape, kind of low polygon or low poly artwork and all of that. Yeah. But the combat of it is pretty interesting. Like, you can target specific limbs. So you're playing as a fly, and some of your other enemies will be flies, and they'll have like 4 arms, and they'll have each with daggers. And I'm rocking up with like a mace and a shield, and I can target their arms specifically to like get rid of their weapon, or you could target the head and knock their head off, but because they're flies, they'll still be alive and fight you for like a couple of seconds before they properly die.
Okay.
And it's so I've only done like the intro kind of tutorial part of it. Mm-hmm. But it is also a co-op game, that you can play. So as someone who's like not generally a huge fan of Souls-like type games, this one it really appealed to me because of like that nostalgic art style, as well as it being a co-op experience, and it's also quite short. From what I've seen, a full playthrough of this game takes between anywhere from 2.5 to like 4 hours. So definitely an interesting looking game, and the developer Waba Boy, it is on itch.io with a couple other projects, and definitely feels like a one-man dev team made this game. So
yeah, I think because we're primarily, I think, focused on Steam, and I guess it sounds weird to say, but like mainstream PC gaming, as far as like the platform that we play on, I think a lot of people don't maybe know that itch.io is the test ground for a lot of games before they make their way to Steam. I found a post from the maker of the makers of Valheim, I think like, I want to say 6 years before the game came out. I'm just making up a number, but it was a long time. And it was on itch.io for that whole time with people playing it and testing it. And then it releases on early access on Steam, and it has this kind of glow up moment where everyone's like, oh my God, this game is so good. But like, man, the game is kind of complicated, and to get to that state where it was like some of the best crafting survival game ever, it had to be on itch, and it had to have people play it and give feedback. So I guess all that to say, itch is a cool place to check out if you are looking to play someone's experimental ideas and give them feedback and stuff like that. Itch is
definitely like one of my favorite websites.
I didn't know that about you. That's awesome, dude.
There's so many cool indie games on there, or like little short projects, or like games people made during a game jam. A lot of times it's free, or there's a free demo. I would definitely recommend people to check out itch.io, as well as like Steam and Game Pass. And
it would be cool if we had a whole itch episode. We just like go down and kind of play some things that are interesting to us.
I'm so down. I'm so down for that.
Okay, put it in the sheet, everyone. Let's go.
But real quick, that was us talking about FlyNight. It came out January 31st. It's got overwhelmingly positive reviews. Yep. All reviews there's like 6K, and it's 96% overwhelmingly positive. It's $6 right now, and if you really like Waba Boy, it looks like he's coming out with a new game called Sorceress, which looks like, it'll be better graphics and with a lot of magic. So that's exciting. That's cool. Thanks for bringing that up, Taylor.
I'd like to shout out to one of our community members, longtime listener, Burn Division. He's the one who gifted me this game on Steam the other day. So that's how I learned about it.
Thank you, Burn.
Thanks, Burn Division.
Nice. Wait, do I have a gong for him? Everyone who gifts us a game gets a gong on the show. New rule. I don't know. Okay.
Hell yeah, love it.
I wanted to say something. Oh, in Halo, if you like knocked off the limbs of the medium floods, like the floods that have taken over a human, you knocked off both their limbs, and then you would call them best friends. You could get like 7 of them to follow you around the level because they couldn't attack because they had no limbs. And then they would just hang out with you. That's what I think about when you said fly, and I was like, oh, if you knock off all their weapons, hopefully they can just like chill and like
they can still kick you if you
that's the
if
word.
You chop all their arms off, they'll still try to kick you.
Halo was before kicking was a thing, before anyone had ever kicked in the whole world. Okay, the game I'm going to talk about is called Terraformers. It came out in 2023, so a little bit of a older game. It is a turn-based Martian card terraformer, and the terraforming part of Mars, a lot of these games that are about terraforming Mars, that is your sole project, and it's a long process. Like the game Terraforming Mars, you could spend almost an unlimited amount of time on, and there's a couple others that I've played that are like that too. But this one splits up Terraforming Mars into like multiple small objectives. And then when you complete those objectives, you get more advanced cards that help you, spoiler alert, terraform Mars, of course. This game is really simple, but it has... Sorry, it's simple to start, but it has that strategic depth that makes you want to keep playing when you keep unlocking more advanced cards. And it calls itself a 3X. And I just thought it'd be a pop quiz since there's 3 of you. I like to do this. I like to ask people to just name an X. So Taylor, can you name an X? Usually these games are called 4X, sorry, I should say. But this game calls itself a 3X. So maybe we could name the remaining 3 X's.
Explore.
Okay, Bobby.
Exploration.
Yep.
Expand.
Okay, Amanda?
Expend.
Oh, expend?
Extraterrestrial.
Yeah.
That's my actual word. That's what I'm gonna say. Extraterrestrial.
RTX. Yeah. So it's usually exploit or and then the last one is exterminate. And this is a peaceful game, so there's no extermination, but there is an exploitation of the resources. So congrats.
Wait, hold up though. What?
Yeah.
What are you exterminating? Extraterrestrials. I'll take my half point.
Okay. Yeah, why not? Let's go.
But good job, Taylor.
I think, guys.
Well, I love 4X games.
Yes.
Me and Christian share that.
Yeah. I've learned something about myself, guys, something that might be shocking to you, that I'm really a sucker for two things. One is sour Skittles. If that shit is in my home, or not even in my home, in my general vision, if there is a kid with some sour Skittles outside a store, I might ask if I can have a couple of them, like randomly, which is quite, I would say, unhinged, but problematic. I just love sour Skittles. And I also love Terraforming Mars. Like, I think I've played like 6 games about Terraforming Mars. I was playing this game on the Steam Deck, sitting there. I was like, yes, back to the red planet where I belong. Terraforming Mars, like the theme and setting of that game, I don't know, is just so compelling to me. And I think, to be fair, compelling for a lot of people. Maybe that's why there are so many games about Terraforming Mars. So I'm having a lot of fun. The multiple mini missions take about an hour to complete, so it's not this long drawn out thing where you kind of forget what you're doing last time you were terraforming Mars. It's just these achievable objectives, which makes the game a little bit more accessible, especially for me, finding myself with less time, having a daughter in the world, starting a new job, or just living life. End of the day on the Steam Deck, love that I can just lock in on one objective. And then, guys, the UI on this game, for a strategy game, my mind was blown. I was like, why has this not been used before? And you tell me if you guys have maybe seen this, but the triggers basically rotate menus on the screen, and then the sub things you select within those menus are with your D-pad. So it's like, I'm making motions on video that can't be seen with people who primarily listen to this show, but left and right, and then the D-pad, and this is pretty much all I'm doing, and pressing the A button, and there's maybe like 15 different menus, and it feels so intuitive. And they have a bunch of hotkeys to press buttons that you press a lot, like the next turn button is hold left trigger, press A. And I'm like, Crusader Kings doesn't have this, dog, and it's Steam Deck verified. Like, why not? Cities Skylines doesn't feel this way on console.
Yeah, most of those kind of 4X, or I guess in this case 3X games, don't translate well to controllers.
Yes.
I tried to play Dune Spice Wars on my Xbox.
Yeah.
And it's so tough to navigate with a controller.
Yeah. We were playing Civ together a couple episodes ago, and same thing. I mean, it felt pretty good. Like, you could tell they did a lot of work, but it's nothing compared to what this game was doing. And I was like, who made this game? I don't think many people know about this game, but if you're a UI designer, first of all, I know nothing about designing video games, but maybe play Terraformers and tell me what you think, because from someone who's playing the game, it was super cool. And I think having it easily controlled on the controller makes it more accessible to a wider range of people, because then people on consoles can play 3X games, which maybe don't usually make their way there. So I want to end on a question of something specific. Bobby, This game was all about unlocking cards. This game is all about multipliers that you get as you're terraforming the red planet, and you connect these certain resources to each other. And zoomed in, I just thought, is this game Balatro with a sci-fi layer, do you think?
I'm wondering why you're asking me this question, because I've never played Balatro.
So I'm asking you this question because when I edit these episodes, your waveform is the smallest, and that makes me upset. So just give me your thoughts as someone who's never played Balatro. Like, deconstructed this. All games with cards are entering the singularity, where I think if you strip them down, they're becoming very similar to each other. And maybe Balatro is just like the best version of that.
All roads lead to Balatro. It's quite possible.
Yes. Yeah, I've been playing lots of Balatro, so that's also a problem.
I'm still scared to touch that game.
Yeah, you should be, dude. You fucking should be. Okay, on the radar, so games that have caught our attention or that we're just excited for. And Bobby's starting us off.
I'm starting us off with so to speak, common expression in the English language. So this game teaches you Japanese. It's a puzzle game where you explore the world and you learn Japanese through context. So I'm always interested with language acquisition games. I'm always a little skeptical about how effective they can be. Usually they're basically glorified flashcards. They can teach you vocabulary, maybe some short sentences, maybe a little bit of comprehension, but it doesn't go far beyond that. That might be the case with this game, but it is very, very highly rated on Steam. Apparently, it's been in the works for like 2 years. People have been waiting it for a long time. If you read through the reviews, people have really been anticipating this game. It's got about 650 words, and not just words, but complex sentences. And again, it's supposed to teach you by just exploring the world. There's no mini games or any gimmicky stuff. It's just like you walk around and you see things and you try to piece it together through context. So it really is like a puzzle game. And what people have said in the reviews is that it does, even if you're familiar with the Japanese language, it's pretty simple at first, but very quickly it becomes very challenging, but there's always a way to figure it out. So really, even though it is a language game, like it still is a puzzle game. And I like that idea. And I think it works well, at least for an English speaker who's trying to learn Japanese, because those are two very different languages, not just audibly, but just visually. I mean, it's got a completely different alphabet. I mean, I look at Japanese writing and I have no idea what's going on there. It looks like a bunch of little scratches and pictures. You know, it's like that has like no relation to the letters that I'm used to. So this seems like a pretty good way to at least become familiar with that.
Yeah,
Sweet.
It definitely looks really cool, and I would have loved to have a game like this back when I was learning Arabic in the Air Force. Because
Same issues
you're
and
right.
problems.
It's very difficult to learn a new language, and using media to do so is super helpful.
I think so too. I'm with Bobby.
This
that
definitely is interesting.
Yeah. But I'm with Bobby that like I love these kind of games. Like to me, one of my favorite games was Language Lab on VR because you're living in that and you're getting that like full immersion. But I also think it's really cool when they use media in a unique way to give you that immersion in a different way, which I would argue is what this is doing through puzzles and through the game style that they've created. I'm so happy that you brought this on the radar. I saw this in my like Steam discovery and was like, this is so cool and so fascinating. They have a demo out here, and I just hope that it does so well that they do start adding other languages. They should add Arabic, and then Taylor can do that and let us know how accurate it is.
So this game, so to speak, it seems like it's made specifically for Japanese. Like if they were to do another language, they'd have to create an entirely new game, which usually isn't the case with these language games. So another popular one that I played quite a bit is called Influent. And that one was pretty good. You're a character who just basically walks around an apartment and you interact with objects, and it teaches you like what things are the word for that in whatever language. So it's very easy to adapt that based on language packs. So the way the game works, I don't know if it's free or it's very low cost, but then you pay for the language packs. So you can buy Russian or French or German or whatever, and then the game just changes based on that. So I was kind of surprised. Like, you usually don't see this with language games. So the fact that they specifically focus on Japanese also makes me think like this is probably a better experience for it.
Yeah.
At least for Japanese.
I couldn't agree more.
The language isn't just the language, it's the introduction of the culture that like mirrors itself and how people communicate. Like, I think you're right, dude. Like, if they wanted to make a truly immersive experience for like Spanish in Colombia, it would probably be a decent amount different than like Spanish in Argentina or something. You know, like those are two different cultures, even though they're speaking the same language. And just mapping one exact game like Duolingo, for example, for both is not going to really teach you anything more than what you said, Bobby, like the introductory phrases and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think you nailed it on the head too, Bobby, about how like a lot of these games, like Influent, is a good example of that. Which, by the way, it's $10 for 23 languages is how that game's set up. But I think you nailed that on the head when you were first introducing, so to speak, which is that a lot of language games, once again, like Influent, are very noun-based. They're very, this is what this is what that is, and you're kind of living in that world, exploring it. But it seems like, so to speak, really is a deep dive in the culture as well, and just an entire world that's incredibly immersive with the aspect of solving puzzles, which is something that like I also have not seen a lot of language learning games do, which is cool. But Taylor,
so
what were you gonna say?
I just looked up the developer, and it appears his name's Eric Anderson. And it seems like
Famous
he
Japanese
made this
name.
game as a solo dev.
Yeah.
And basically, in his About Me section, it says he had been taking Japanese classes for 7 years, has visited Japan several times, and still sucks at Japanese. So he made the game because he was thinking there just has to be a better way to learn languages.
Cool.
So I don't know. I don't know that we'll get other languages from this developer, but
No, Eric, go to Egypt. Do Egypt.
Well, I hope
For
what
7 years.
happens is that he inspires more people to take on like a deeper approach into like creating worlds of this in different languages, right? Because the model or the blueprint of language learning games has been so much of, we'll let you be immersed, but maybe it's you're exploring your apartment and you have to make a steak and we'll just teach you how to do that. Not something like you're truly being thrown into like history and culture and like the world, so to say, and immersed in the world. So I don't know. I hope this takes off because this is great. But yeah, $16.19 is how much it costs until, well, for the next 19 hours. More nines, sixes and nines. Something like
Nice.
that.
and there is a demo for it as well.
Get your little intro to Japanese. Taylor, what's on your radar?
On my radar is a game coming out in a few days called Blueprints, April 10th, so 4 days from now. It's a puzzle slash exploration slash mystery type game where your character is basically trying to build a house to get to a specific room. Room 46 is your goal. And so what you do is at the start of the game, you will have like a blank grid and you'll come up with architectural plans to build rooms to add to the house. And so then what you'll eventually do is build, a path to get to that room 46 by like building a hallway that leads to a kitchen that leads to the library, and then in each of these rooms is a puzzle to solve, and it adds to the mystery of like the whole story of what's going on with this house.
Have you played this board game called Mystery Mansion?
I haven't played Mystery Mansion, but it definitely reminded me of board games like the Betrayal and the House on the Hill games.
Yes, yeah, exactly. The same thing. And I haven't seen that in a video game form, but even like the font on the architecture plans seems like it reminds me of like the font on the Haunting games. I don't know, maybe it's the same people involved, or maybe they're just taking inspiration from that. But yeah, those games are ragers for this friend group over here.
It's cool.
They're definitely, those games are really popular with my board gaming friend group as well. So I'm just excited to see a PC version that looks actually good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is just single player though. It's not a board game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, also too, I just saw here on the video, like, this is just such a little side note, maybe a bird walk. It won't be that far of a walk though, just a little loop. But I absolutely love it when games, because BLACKSHARD does this too, actually. They have a huge overlay of text that you can walk through. Like, I don't know what it is, but I just love that little like aesthetic design. I just saw here on Blueprints, they just showed like day 7, and it was just, it took up the whole sky, but then you walked right under it and then it was gone. And it was like, I just love that shit. Is there like a little design or artistic thing that you guys really like in a game that you see that's kind of like that? Like, to me, it's just text overlay. Like, it's
Nothing. Oh man, nothing off the dome like that.
Yeah, I can't think of anything specifically. If I had more time, or if I noticed something, like I would definitely I definitely have an answer. I just can't think of what it would be right now.
maybe it's a clean inventory management setup HUD for you, right, Bobby?
I like when a game will do the tutorialization in a interesting way that's like feels diegetic to the game.
Yeah, it doesn't take you out. Yeah. Like the
and
creative.
FlyNight is like that.
Oh,
where
cool.
In the intro, you just wake up and then you walk. The first thing in front of you is a corpse that you grab gear from, and then there's like these little fairy rings that are blue glowing fairy rings, and when you walk onto them, it'll tell you the tip. Like equip the mace you just picked up or whatever, and you follow the path. So like that kind of tutorial is a game design thing that I really like.
Yeah, I like the Iron Harvest tutorial where it's like a Company of Heroes game all about like cover and unit management, and it's tutorializing you through like this game of these kids playing snowball. Like
snowball fights,
and then
a bear hunting a stag,
and hunting a bear and hunting a stag. Yes, that was really cool. Yeah.
I hope that's I think it's so much better when they can get creative with the tutorial instead of like RuneScape where it's just tutorial island and here's your tutorial.
Right.
But who knows? Maybe they'll pull it together for the next game that they're coming out with, because that's what I put on the radar was RuneScape Dragonwilds, because RuneScape is making a new fucking game, guys. And so pretty stoked. It's going to be powered in Unreal Engine 5. It's supposed to be launching into early access in spring 2025, so I'm hoping that it's going to be showing up pretty soon. If you want to see a deep dive of the reveal on Twitch on April 15th, they're having it at 5 o'clock GMT. So that's when we can kind of check it out, watch it. What is it, right? It's a crafting survival game, which is going to be wild, in the world of RuneScape. So that's cool. I better meet all of you fucking homies at Lumbridge, because we're building a goddamn castle in Varrock, all right? It's going to be awesome.
You're so excited. It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, Taylor and I have multitasked RuneScape multiple times to Baldur's Gate 3, and you're going to tell me that we can live our RuneScape fantasy in a Valheim setting? Fuck yeah, man. I'm stoked. It's RuneScape Dragonwilds. I don't know. Check it out. It's going to be sick. You're either going to love it or you're going to hate it, I feel.
They threw a dart
it's
at
pretty
the dartboard
crazy that
of Target
they're
Market.
making a new game, though. Like
yeah.
Yeah.
RuneScape has been around for like what 20 plus years, and they've never made another game.
No, I mean the creator did branch off and make his own kind of little thing, but
Did that ever come
as
out?
like I believe it did, but
That's-
Did we ever check that out? Yeah, because I remember
we
that.
did not
the-
check it out.
And so this isn't the creator of original RuneScape. This is just
No,
the
this is
existing
Jagex
company.
itself. Yeah, this
Right,
is
yeah, yeah.
Jagex going,
Jagex, yeah.
or Jagex. They're like, yeah, I know that we've only had one game out for your entire life, but here now we're launching a new one.
Yeah, the OG RuneScape dev, I think his name Andrew Gower, and he left Jagex. He sold the company and then moved on to his own project. So,
That hasn't.
but
yet
that was several
released.
years ago. I don't think so. I think it's called Brighter Shores, I believe.
Brighter Shores. Yes, that is the one. Yeah. Clickety clackety clack. We're all doing research. Oh, it did come out. 7 out of 10 on Steam. It's in early access right now. Yeah. Oh, I brought this up for Amanda. Oh, recent reviews, 42%. There's a story here. What's going on? Cool.
Yeah, I remember us talking about it a bit when I had brought up the first time that Taylor and I started playing RuneScape and Baldur's Gate 3 at the same time, and I was gonna check this out, but I'm not gonna lie, man, like this looks almost too much like RuneScape that I'd rather just fucking play RuneScape. But the RuneScape Dragonwilds, though, I mean, I get that that's still RuneScape, but like, it's gonna be such a different game at the same time to have a co-op, like, survival crafting adventure, like, in Unreal Engine 5. I mean, that's gonna be so cool.
This
You can
kind
do
of
whatever.
it
This
kind of
looks
reminds
great.
me of like what I was talking about the other week with Avowed, like how Obsidian went from like making a isometric CRPG to like total genre shift.
Yeah.
And put out Avowed, and here we've got RuneScape going from like old school MMO to here. Hey, we're making a survival adventure game.
Yeah.
Right?
It's weird that like RuneScape is the setting. It's like this isn't a fantasy game. It's not a sci-fi game. It's specifically a RuneScape game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so stoked, though. That's awesome.
What's the name of the RuneScape world?
I believe it's
Delanor?
Ashenfall. Oh, or no.
Or something like that.
Oh, you guys got to
don't
give
know.
your
Anyway,
RuneScape cards up right now. That's
Ooh.
crazy.
Right?
That's, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, we're both messing
but-
that up.
All right. Subs and donos, Emilio. What do we got? Who wants to be Emilio? I didn't change the show notes. Taylor, do you want to be Emilio and shout out our great sub?
I'd be happy to, but I don't know where to look.
Under the subs and donos section in the middle of the show notes.
Gotcha. But there's no one. There's no name.
No, there's no.
All right,
So-
subs and
Recycled.
donos, new patrons. Yeah, coming to you from Recycled. He's subscribed at tier 1 and he's been subscribed for 80 months. Holy shit. He says, hey guys, large number alert, LOL.
Yeah, 80 months. That's crazy. Yeah, I forgot to write his name in there and then ask Taylor to do it. That's pretty funny. Cool.
Sorry, Taylor.
For the plugs, you can support us on Patreon. You get some goodies. You get a sticker. You get a shout out. You get a cool name on Discord. You also get access to the pre-show, which we've been told by supporters the pre-show is better than the show. So take that what it's worth. That comes right in an RSS feed that you can download right from Patreon to your podcast player. So no extra steps. It just shows up there. dlgaming.net, and then hit the supporters button to find out how you can support us. Bobby, listener questions. What do we got?
We got a few. First one from Time Killer B. The year is 1999. It's New Year's Eve. What are you doing?
I think my parents have the channel on like London New Year's Eve or something, so they can put me to bed at like 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. because I am 6 years old. So I don't think I'm doing much. Maybe I'm blowing on a little kazoodle. Kazoot! That thing. And going to bed early watching a foreign nation's New Year's Eve on TV. That's what I'm doing.
I was also 6 years old in 1999.
Nice.
So I remember staying up late to watch the ball drop and then banging pots and pans outside with the neighbors.
Oh.
And it was a big deal because my dad at the time was working at Microsoft, and they were dealing with the Y2K stuff.
The world was going to end.
That was my New Year's Eve,
Nice.
1999.
Bobby? Oh, sorry.
Wow. No, Amanda, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I too was a child, so I'm sure I was sitting in front of the TV watching New York City's, Times Square ball drop, and probably I'd imagine my mom was drinking like a beer to celebrate, but then we would have like, I think it's like sparkling apple cider or something. Like I can't remember. There's like some brand that makes this thing that.
Your guys' parents were
Growing up,
so
we would
cool.
always-
Martinelli's, yeah.
So you got to watch New Year's Eve in your time zone. You didn't have to go to bed early, and you got sparkling juice and banging pots and pans with your neighbors. What a celebration! I was fooled.
Oh yeah.
As a
What
kid.
about you, Bobby?
Yeah.
I did not have any Martinellis that night. I recently looked at a bottle of Martinellis. So when I was young, same thing. Like the adults would drink, the kids would get Martinelli's sparkling cider. And I recently looked at that at like the last family gathering I was at, and it's like, I don't know, 56 grams of sugar or something. I
Nice.
couldn't believe they let us drink that. Wow, I feel like this question was asked on the wrong episode because. Well, I don't know. Maybe Nick would have been a little older and would have a story. Emilio certainly, but I can tell you exactly where I was at on New Year's Eve, 1999. I was on my computer, Yahoo Chat, Mos Eisley Cantina, hanging out with all my online buddies, waiting to see if something was going to happen, and it didn't. Nothing happened, thanks to Taylor's dad.
Good job, Taylor's dad.
I love that tie-in. I do remember Taylor's dad saving the day as well. In my child brain.
Yeah, single-handedly stopped the Y2K bug that was going to shut down the world.
Yeah.
That's why we popped the bottles of sparkling cider, dude.
Yeah. There's that movie. It's called Taylor's Dad. You guys should all see it. All right,
Next question from J. Beck Quest. How complex is too complex for you to enjoy a game? Any examples?
Oh, shit. Okay, so this just popped into my head. Have you guys played any of the... Oh, man. I really wish I would have known the name. The Build-A-Zoo games. Is it called Build-A-Zoo?
Like Zoo
Like
Tycoon?
Zoo Tycoon?
Is it Zoo Tycoon? Okay.
Are you talking about... Oh,
No, it's
go
not Zoo
ahead.
Tycoon.
Are you
Planet
talking
Zoo?
about we talked about this when I played Planet Coaster, I think. Is that where you're going?
Planet Zoo.
Yes, that is where I'm going, Bobby. Thank you.
Okay.
Wow. Way to pull on a thread and find the one brain cell it's attached to. Okay, so Planet Zoo, I'm playing this game, and it's like, how high do you want the glass in centimeters? I'm like, what? And then it's like the angle on every path is something I have to select, and the nutrients of the ant. And I'm just like, I love sim games, but there's like not enough presets for me to play this game in a fun way. Like I'm spending way too much time micromanaging every detail of this zoo, and that is too complex for me, and I would say not fun. Even though the game has great reviews, so many people like it, for some reason I was not one of those people.
For me, it'd be like Dwarf Fortress. That game looks impenetrable to me. Like, people, it's super well reviewed. The people who get it seem to love it and, give it a ton of praise. But I look at that game and I'm like, I have no idea what's going on, because it gets so granular that like you're managing what individual dwarves are doing in your kingdom, and the UI doesn't make any sense, and the graphics are all character like text.
Yeah. It's like, why is
Like
the dollar
ASCII
sign
art.
mining the? Is it why? What is the M sign doing
Yeah.
to the dollar sign? Is this natural?
To me, that's a game that is way too complex to be enjoyable.
Yeah. For me, it's I think of Elite Dangerous actually, because I'm like I can't handle like I don't know. It was very complex and very difficult for me to like navigate actually flying like a space shuttle in space, and it just is so much. I mean, another space game that like comes to mind as well that I think Scram TX also mentioned in answer to this question is Stellaris, because I was kind of like, when I was playing, I was like, man, I just want to like conquer things and play like Catan or maybe like a Civ 5 in space, and it's so much more. It's so much more than that.
That is interesting because to me, I felt like Stellaris when it released was really incredibly simple. Sorry, I was like, it was almost
If
too
you're
simple.
not used to the paradox style games,
It could be a lot for
I
sure.
could see it being overwhelming.
But
But
when
if
no, please go. My bad.
Oh, if you've played a lot of Paradox games like Crusader Kings and Viking 3 and all of that, then
Well, I think Stellaris,
it's not.
when it came out, was so simple that people, like, it pissed people off. They were like, we waited all this for the space game? That was so simple. But then it quickly got complex, and the game has gone through so many game-changing changes to it, like, that have really completely changed, like, how to develop planets, what you can slot in ships, how the research works, that it's gone through these phases where the previous phase is not recognizable, except it is a game where you are expanding in space and building a space civilization. But like the actual day-to-day things that you're doing have changed so much. So Amanda, you might have played it in one of the super complex stages where you had to manually assign population to buildings on a planet. And that, I could definitely see that getting pretty fucking overwhelming.
Also, what you just described, dude, sounds hella fucking complex for a launch of a game and its trajectory to where it is now, right?
Yeah.
Right? All right, let me sit here. It's real simple. We've changed the way the game plays. We've changed everything about the game like multiple
6 times. Yeah. Yeah, like a lot of times. Like not like a couple times. Yeah.
It's real simple.
Stellaris has like what, $300 worth of DLCs.
Yeah, that also changed
and
the game.
that's with a 20% discount. So
yeah, that's crazy.
Sick. Get it now if you want your complexity.
Yeah.
So I don't think complexity is. People like complex games. I've found like they really enjoy it. I think what tends to be a deterrent for people is not necessarily the complexity, but the time it takes to learn the game because it is complex. Like if a game is complex and it's difficult to play, that's one thing. Like if things don't make sense or add up, or it's just not a good experience, then it's just badly designed. But if something is complex and well designed, then it's just a matter of time. And do you have that time? So for me, I talked about this earlier with Nine Kings. I was like, this is great because it's a simplified version of a genre that I really like, but don't have time to get very good at.
That you like, that you invented.
That I invented, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I echo what Christian said. Like I had an experience with Planet Coaster where I thought, you know what? I want to get into one of these games. Never tried any of the Planet games. And then immediately I was like, this is way too much. Like that's not happening.
It's like the size of the guardrails on the roller coaster. You're like, no, dude, I'm out.
Yeah.
I think
sign up for this.
You make a good point there, Bobby. With the complexity is a good thing. It just depends on how much effort you want to put in to understand something.
Mm-hmm.
Like a game like Dwarf Fortress, it feels like you have to read their like 700-page wiki to understand how to even start.
Well, and there's a
Dwarf
visual
Fortress
barrier to a game like that too. I think they've come out with a new version of the game that doesn't use like text for characters now, so I think it's better. But
they published it, and it was like groundbreaking because now it's way more accessible. Like Taylor, I think you would probably have a great time playing Dwarf Fortress with the graphics, like the Steam version.
All right, final question.
Not convinced. Nope. Yeah.
We'll see.
I don't think he sold them.
Yeah.
Final question from Pyronical. How many play hours does a $60 game need to hold your attention? Let me try that one more time. How many play hours does a $60 game need to hold your attention to get your money's worth?
I reject the premise of this question. I don't know if we should be
I do
equating
too.
dollars spent with play hours, because I can buy like a $7 indie game. I can buy Loop Hero and have basically an infinite amount of fun until I die. Like, that is a situation where the game is infinitely replayable. It's literally called Loop Hero. It's super good, and it doesn't hold a candle to like a Skyrim or a game that took way more people to develop and is a completely different experience. So I would be disappointed if I bought a game for $60, like a AAA game, and it wasn't really for me in the first couple hours. Then I would be like, oh, fuck. But if it's a game that I can complete in 11 hours, that's probably a good thing for me personally. Like, I don't know, some of these, like, I remember playing Far Cry, doing every side quest, and I was like, Jesus Christ, dude, when does this game end? Like, I just want it to end so I can experience it as it was meant to be experienced.
I definitely have gotten into arguments on Reddit about this in the video gaming subreddits, where, because it's such a common sentiment of like, people doing the math of like, okay, so the game's $60 and you only got 20 hours of playtime out of it, but this other game, Divinity Original Sin 2, you get 300 hours out of for the same price. So obviously it's the better game.
Yeah.
And to me, that it's not about like reducing like your enjoyment of a game to like how many hours. I'd rather have a like short experience, a 10 or 15 hour game.
Yeah.
That's really fun the whole time than, something like the latest, one of the Assassin's Creed games that is like technically, you could spend 120 hours to play for one playthrough, but I'm not enjoying most of that time.
Yeah. It's like, maybe people are used to equating this to like film in a way. Maybe that's not even right. Maybe I don't know what they're equating it to, but like to me, if I have a really nice meal at a restaurant and it's $60 and it was the best meal I ever had, or if it was really good, it doesn't really matter the time that I consume that meal in. But I can also go to McDonald's and have a great meal for $9. And I know those are two different experiences, and it's fine. Like, I'm not like...
No one is reviewing movies and saying, like, oh, the latest, whatever, the latest Die Hard or the latest Mission Impossible movie. It was good, but, I don't think it was worth it because it was only 93 minutes instead of 2 hours.
Yeah, I didn't get my money's worth on that one. Like, I really wanted to sit in the movie theater for a bit longer. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's just, I mean, I agree a lot with you guys as well, too. I wonder if some of this stems from, like, time is money, and so it's kind of like with so many games going $60 to even $80, like, how much are you getting out of the game? But I don't know. I think like initially when I read this, I kind of felt like, oh, for me, I think what would justify $60 is something that's 10 hours or more of gameplay. But then I just realized that like Split Fiction is my fucking game of the year mark for this year so far. And it took 8 hours to beat it. I think it took closer to 11, but I know you can beat it in 8. And so it's just like, that game was full price, totally fucking worth it, beyond worth it. Like, gladly to buy, like super happy to pay for that because it was so worth it. It was such good value. Like,
Pyronical answer to your question is
like
any amount of time that wasn't like 30 minutes or something, then you might be like, well, fuck.
Yeah.
The playtime doesn't matter to make $60 feel worth it. It's the enjoyment of the game that matters.
But
and I think that kind of sentiment, I think is more, I see it more with younger people who have way more gaming time.
Right. Yeah.
If you're 16, 17 and you you game 100 hours a week or something, then that makes more sense.
Totally. Yep.
Well, additionally too, because of itch.io and like all of these and like indie games, I think in general being such on a rise, like at the end of the day, you really could spend a lot less money for a lot more unique experiences than what's heading on the trend of like AAA, because a lot of genres are starting to become the same. Like, I wouldn't want to spend $60 on pretty much any Souls-like game, no matter how good it is. But part of it's that it's not my genre, but so much of the industry is moving to so many Souls-like games or roguelike games, both of those. Like, and so it's just kind of like, you know, I could see somebody that plays so many games in like a younger crowd, especially with how much more difficult and how more expensive everything is becoming on a large scale, that at the end of the day, a lot of people are really going to have to start drawing much more definitive lines in the sand for like, why would I spend $60? But
That's
to
true,
me,
but
it
this-
really boils down to a good value, not hours played.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It was another argument against like Avowed. When Avowed came out, I was getting into arguments with people on Reddit for that
good
too,
example.
because they're like, "Oh, Avowed is only 20 something hours or 40 hours to beat," versus so you know that it's obviously inferior to Baldur's Gate 3 or you know Kingdom
Etc.
Come Deliverance,
Yeah, yeah.
because those games are 150 hours to beat.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't like that metric.
We don't like this question, Pyronical. Do better. No, just joking.
No,
Thank
well,
you for the
okay, so
question.
I like
Thank you
this
for the
question, but it does show us where we're putting our merit and value into a game. It's not hours played, it's value of the mechanics and the game itself,
I would
how
say
it's made,
not
or
many
the story.
people are actually putting it in the hours either.
Yeah.
I think I can make that argument, but I think we're beating this with
horse, yeah.
with
Yep.
150 hour long time to beat tag. So
Yeah.
next episode or next week, what is everyone playing? And of course, our next episode is brought to you by, as it is always brought to you by, John Vogel. Can we get some claps? John.
Woo! John Vogel!
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John. You are our Support the Show Plus member. You're the only person at that tier on Patreon. So all this attention is yours. And I just want to thank you personally. That's awesome, dude. Thank you for the support. Next week, I won't be on because I have some plans in another city. But I'm going to be using that time to give my quarterly update of Mass Effect. So playing a lot of Mass Effect. I'm hopefully doing the whole trilogy this year. We'll see what happens, but that is a big game, and I'm trying real hard not to get distracted on side quests. And I look forward to any questions you fellow people might have on Mass Effect, what I'm enjoying, or what the major decisions that I'm making on the game. So cue those up for 2 weeks from now. Amanda, what are you playing?
I'm going to try and use this HOTAS controller for Microsoft Flight Simulator and try and fly through some national fucking forest and parks.
Before they're defunded. Good job. Nice.
Yeah. Yep, that's
Taylor, what are you
exactly what I
playing?
want.
I'm gonna be finishing Avowed because I didn't have the chance to finish it while I was sick. And then I started a new playthrough of Pathfinder: Wrath of the Righteous.
Nice.
So I'll be playing that as well.
Cool. All right, Amanda, end this show. What are we doing?
All right. Well, I gotta say, I think what we're gonna do is I need somebody to create a beat, and we're coming up with our own music this way. So I'm going to, I mean, I'll of course the Emilio way, speaking for Bobby who left, Christian, Taylor, and myself. Can we get a beat for some titties? Yeah.
I have to end the show. The button's over here. I can't do the beat.
Button. Hit that button. Yeah. Get the
Outro.
button in the button.
Goodbye.
Nope.
And
Yep.
I hit the button.
Bye.
Yes.
Titties.
Button is hit. Okay, bye everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.